Hi guys, it's Stock Curry and welcome back to the channel. Today is the first day of the last month of the first half of the year. And you know what that means? Absolutely nothing. I just thought it would be cool to say. But anyway, I want to talk about AMC because some really important things have been happening with AMC. Now, we don't really have any sort of more news or anything like that. However, I want to highlight the change in outlook and the change in opinion that is taking place with a lot of people on YouTube, and more specifically, two people in particular, and that would be the two people on YouTube that I cover who are an analyst, a former analyst in investment banking. When you have somebody with investment banking experience, somebody who knows the industry, who is an insider, who understands how DTC and all this stuff works, coming out and saying that yes, in fact, there may be synthetic shares, and yes, there may actually be naked shorting going on, and they're admitting this. When you have former industry insiders coming out and saying that, pay attention. And of course, the two people I'm talking about are both myself and Tom Nash. Tom Nash was a senior financial analyst. He really knows this stuff. And you guys really don't know this, but when I worked in investment banking, as an analyst, you can work in a lot of different places. I mean, you can work on the brokerage side of the house. You can work directly for the traders who are institutional traders. You can work in risk management. I personally worked in securities lending. That's where my career was securities lending. Now, securities lending is basically the lending out of shares so that short sellers can then borrow those shares and go short them. So if anybody knows about short selling and naked selling and all that stuff, it's me. And I'm coming out and I'm telling you, yes, it does look like synthetic shares are out there. Yes, it does look like naked shorting is happening. And in today's video, I'm going to go into more detail and explain how that's even possible, why it's happening, and just basically what's going on. Now, this is the third video where I've talked about AMC, and I really don't want to repeat myself. So what I'm doing is in each video, I'm just giving you some new information, some additional insight into a potential short squeeze on AMC, which, by the way, has not even started yet. And so what I'm going to do today is give you new information that I have not covered before. If you want to know everything I think about AMC, you can go back and watch pretty much the last 3 videos where I go through and I talk about AMC and everything that's kind of going on with it and what it's going to take for AMC to actually short squeeze. We also talk about the failure to delivers. And here's the thing about this. The SEC has not yet released the latest numbers. We only have the numbers through April 30th. So we don't really know what's going on with the failure to delivers from May. I do hope those numbers come out soon because they are going to be very interesting to see. Okay, the other thing I want to talk about real fast is TipRanks just sent me 3 more stocks that have an analyst price target that is a price target that has an upside potential of 100% or more. These are stocks that analysts think could double. Now, of course, I presented one earlier to Tuesday that was a 2x stock that an analyst came out and said had about 110 to 120% upside potential. And if you guys missed that, you can go watch the video that I uploaded earlier. It was my 2x stock pick. I have 3 more for you guys. Let me know if you like the individual videos with the stock picks where I go into full detail and analysis on those. And if you do, I'll go ahead and do some more with some of the ones that I found at TipRanks that could potentially double as well. Not talking about sponsored videos. I'm just talking about videos or stocks that I have found that TipRanks and others have sent me that could potentially double based upon what the analysts are saying. So let me know if you want more of those, and if you do, just go ahead and comment down below if you'd like to see that, and I'll go ahead and work on another video for you guys. Okay. Let's get into today's stock picks because we have a lot to talk about. Now, for those of you who are new to this channel, my name is Stock Curry. I used to work as an analyst for some large investment banks, and now I analyze stock picks from the top 10 YouTubers. I give you both the cliff notes from the top 10 YouTubers as well as my analysis on what they're saying. If anything I talk about today piques your interest, make sure you listen to who I say talked about that stock and then go watch their video to get a full details on what they said. Now, all I ask for putting all of this together for you guys is that you hit that like button, subscribe, click the bell icon, and then click all so that you can get notified when I release my next video. In fact, I'll give you 5 seconds to do that right now. Alright, before we get to today's stock picks, I just want to remind everyone that I am not a financial advisor, and none of the YouTubers I analyze are financial advisors either. Nothing I talk about today is a recommendation to buy, sell, or hold. These are just my opinions, which may or may not be accurate. Please do your own research before investing in any asset. The first thing I want to point out on the markets overall is that despite the fact that stocks like Tesla, NIO, and especially AMC were up massively today, the market was actually down, which can be easy to forget about. I do still think that we are in a correction. However, it may not affect high growth stocks and EV stocks as much since they were already pushed down. You may not even see the correction depending upon which stocks you're holding. The other thing that I want to point out here is that OEG, Orbital Energy Group, was up 115% today after they received a $700 million contract. I do own a little bit of OEG, but sadly it is a very small position, and that made almost no dent at all in my portfolio. Alright, let's get into today's stock and crypto picks. First, we need to talk about Dogecoin. Stockmo let us know that Coinbase has announced that they will start Dogecoin trading on Thursday on their Coinbase Pro platform. That is going to be a huge catalyst for DOGE. Dogecoin was one of the best performing cryptos Tuesday on that news. I actually bought about $1,000 worth of DOGE on Tuesday, and I'm up about 10% as of the recording of this video. And of course, that is something that I just love about cryptocurrencies. There aren't too many stocks that you can buy and be up 10% in just a few short hours. But with crypto, that is normal price movement. Of course, it can also fall just as fast, so you really have to be careful and be willing to hold through massive swings. Now technically, DOGE is going to hit some pretty strong resistance at around 40 cents. However, once DOGE breaks past 40 cents, it should be free to run up, and then ultimately how high DOGE goes just depends upon how many people buy DOGE on Coinbase on Thursday and Friday. I will warn you that over the past few weeks, cryptos have been falling on the weekends and then rising back up starting Sunday night, so we might see that happen again with DOGE. If you're looking at DOGE as a short-term trade, you have a couple of options on when to sell. The first is Thursday morning as a buy the hype, sell the news play. The other time to consider selling is Friday evening when cryptos typically top out for the week and start going back down. Personally, I haven't decided when I'll be selling yet. This is a short-term hold for me, and I do plan to sell either Thursday or Friday. Okay, and without delay, let's get right into AMC. This is AMC Movie Theaters. Tom Nash discussed the whole synthetic shares and failures to deliver issues with AMC and really the market overall today. He very briefly discussed a lot of important topics, since his video was really a recap of a much longer hour-and-a-half video that someone else did. One of the most important things Tom Nash discussed that I forgot to talk about yesterday was how locates are given to multiple counterparties on the same shares. Here's what that means. When you want to short a stock, you need to locate shares to borrow, since you need to borrow shares in order to sell them. But the issue is that legally, you don't actually have to borrow the shares in order to short a stock. You only have to locate those shares, meaning you have to provide proof that you can borrow the shares. You don't actually have to borrow them. So what's happening is the same shares are being located or being used as proof of available to borrow by many different firms. So for example, let's say someone like Merrill Lynch has 100,000 shares available to borrow. There might be 10 different institutions that locate those 100,000 shares and use that locate as proof of ability to borrow. So even though only 100,000 shares are available to borrow, 10 different institutions are using those shares to short since they don't actually have to borrow them. And in turn, those 100,000 shares are being used by 10 different firms to short 1 million shares in the market. This is where we get the concept of synthetic shares from. Now, Tom Nash actually covered a lot in his recap video, so I strongly recommend you go watch Tom Nash's video that he uploaded Tuesday. Larry Jones also said that the short squeeze is not yet started, and he is correct about that. As I've explained in my prior videos, we can't start the short squeeze until Tuesday of next week due to the legal failure to deliver's window. Short term, Paul Nguma thinks AMC could reach $50 tomorrow, which he thinks will then trigger some retail traders to sell and take profits. Larry Jones said he had some extra cash, so he decided to quadruple down on AMC today. I will also let you know in full disclosure that I do not own any AMC shares and I do not plan to buy any shares. Next up is CCIV. This is a SPAC and they're merging with Lucid Motors. Lucid Motors is an American EV company and a competitor to Tesla. The merger has been pushed off until the third quarter of 2021. StockMo still thinks CCIV is undervalued and should be $30 to $40 a share. Keep in mind that CCIV remains one of the most heavily shorted SPACs on the market. Next up is CHPT. This is ChargePoint. They are the largest charging station company in North America with 73% of the total market share. I just want to briefly go over the technicals in CHPT because they are starting to look really good. The biggest catalyst that I can see technically is the fact that CHPT broke out of its downward trend line, meaning the bearish descending triangle pattern failed to hold. CHPT is now technically free to rise. The RSI and MACD are both still neutral, so we still have quite a bit of room to run up before we enter overbought territory. We're still not quite above all of the EMAs yet, but we are really close, and could possibly get there on Wednesday. So in summary, I really like CHPT technically right now, and it looks like it's about to break out to the upside. Next up is FDX. This is FedEx. Chris Sain said FDX is the best stock in the stock market, and said today's dip was a buying opportunity. Despite that, yesterday Chris Sain canceled a limit buy order on FDX and said he was going to use the funds to buy AMC instead. Chris Sain did give a $309 buy-under price and a $305 ideal buy-in price. Based upon the 21-day and 50-day EMAs that FDX consistently bounces off of though, I will give you a buy-under price of $308 and an ideal buy-in price of $300. I will also give you a stop-loss price of $257, although as a long-term dividend stock, you might not want to set a stop-loss price. Next up is JMIA. This is JMIA, and they're an African e-commerce company similar to Amazon. Paul Nguma likes JMIA for a short-term momentum play. He has a price target of between $35 and $36 by the end of this week. Next up is MS. This is Morgan Stanley, and they're an investment bank. Chris Sain said that MS will do well in your portfolio and is a great stock to diversify with. I completely agree, and in fact, MS is my best performing stock that I am currently holding. I am up nearly 20% on MS since I bought it 2 months ago. Banking stocks in general will continue to do well with interest rate rises on the horizon. I also own Citigroup, ticker symbol C, which I'm up over 12% on in less than a month. Next up is NIO. This is NIO, and they're a Chinese EV manufacturer. StockMo said he bought more NIO today. He said he doesn't normally buy stocks on green days, but he's seen so many large institutions buying in that he decided to buy too. Keena Grace also likes NIO under $40. NIO released their May delivery numbers today, which dropped 5.5% from April due to the semiconductor chip shortage. Regardless, that drop was lower than expected considering that they closed their factory for 5 days last month. Also, ZipTrader let us know that NIO planned to accelerate their June delivery numbers to make up for the delays in May. And NIO also maintained their Q2 guidance of between 21,000 and 22,000 vehicles. As a result of all of that, the stock price rose over 9% today. Next up is NUE. Paul Nguma likes NUE for a short-term 52-week high technical breakout. The last time NUE had a 52-week high breakout, it rose 20% in just a few days. Paul Nguma has a $117 to $120 price target on NUE, and I think $120 is reasonable. Paul Nguma said that if NUE closes out around $120 on Wednesday, then it could get as high as $130 on Thursday. Next up is TSLA. This is Tesla, and they're an American EV manufacturer. StockMo bought more TSLA today in his YouTuber picks portfolio. This was the stock that his viewers chose to add and is not necessarily StockMo's stock pick. StockMo thinks that this current run that started about 2 weeks ago is the start of a new bull run. He thinks $563 was the low for TSLA. He thinks TSLA is at a bargain at the current price. StockMo thinks that as the semiconductor chip shortage is resolved, that TSLA and all of the other EV stocks will rise as well. Although he did say that he does not think that the semiconductor chip shortage will be over until the end of July. Alright, I hope you enjoyed this video and get a lot out of it. Comment down below how high you think AMC is going to go. And if you want to get some free stocks, you can sign up for Webull using my link in the description below. When you sign up for Webull using my link and deposit just $100, Webull's going to send you 2 free stocks worth up to $1,850. They're also going to give me 1 free stock, so it helps you out and it also helps the channel out. Finally, remember to hit that like button, subscribe, and click the bell icon if you haven't already. I hope you have a lot of success trading, and I will see you tomorrow.